Welcome to the Pit Check, your weekly news for the best and heaviest new albums from your favorite extreme metal and hardcore bands. Today, the emphasis is definitely more on the hardcore side of things. Don't worry, we've still got some great new death metal, deathcore, metalcore, and more this week. But there were so many insane new hardcore albums that there was just no way I could fit them all into this episode. So at the end of the video, I'll have a bunch of special shoutouts that you should definitely check out, even though we didn't get to cover them today. And as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can get your weekly fix of new albums. And let's get right into this week's new metal and hardcore album reviews. Need some relentless new hardcore? In the trenches, stay relentless! The Sydney-based metallic hardcore band Justice for the Damned has just put out their latest album titled Stay Relentless. Man, there is just something in the water over there. I swear, Australian bands are always just cooking up the most beefy breakdowns possible. I close my eyes. I still see the night. I love how this band sounds like peak 2004 metalcore. Not Myspace metalcore, to be clear. Just, you know, that early 2000s tough as nails hardcore that loves incorporating those old school metal riffs. I know some people are kind of clamoring for more of those blackened deathcore elements that were prevalent in their early work, and that's not really present on this album. This one has more of the metallic hardcore vibe that was in their last album, Pain is Power, and here they're doubling down on that. If you like bands like Iron Mind or Orthodox, Mugshot, or The Last 10 Seconds of Life, you should definitely check this one out. Breakthrough! Ever heard reggae metalcore? Don't suffocate, yeah. So we tell them again. The Reggaecore band Aurorawave has just released their latest album titled Monument. Everything must me vibes make me laughing. When we work ever willing it positive where we are from Jamaica to foreign roots reggae. In person, this band must have the same chill vibes that their music does, because this album is loaded with guest spots from the most random people. We've got features from Underoath, Amur, Left to Suffer, Jesse Royal, and so many more. There's some really solid metalcore riffs and even some breakdowns here and there, and the way they blend them with the reggae upstroke guitars and melodies is genuinely perfectly implemented. But definitely don't go into this band expecting something brutally heavy. This is more of a smoking on the beach vibe. Demons collaborate, but the angels still compete. Still I pray for everybody, but I write this verse in the lobby. Rich and poor. I had an unexpectedly great time with this album. This is a really fun and fresh sound that's definitely going to be a crowd pleaser, especially for those times where you're in control of the music and you can't put on anything too heavy, but you still want some chugs. Looking for some ignorant new hardcore? The Bay Area hardcore band Outta has just put out this ass beater of a new EP titled Your Last Breath. If you love beatdown hardcore, breakdowns that'll lower your IQ, and a snare drum that sounds like an empty keg being hit with a sledgehammer, you have no excuse not to listen to this. There's also a surprising amount of variety here. Yes, this band is mostly wall-to-wall breakdowns and slams, but each one does have its own special flavor. And when they do choose to get riffy, they're actually way more creative than you'd expect for something this heavy. This is only 4 songs, but I enjoyed this a ton, especially when they start getting moody and dark with it. I can't wait till they put out another full length. 4 songs is just not enough. Myspace Metalcore is here to stay. The band that sounds like it was plucked out of 2007, Playing with Knives, has just released their debut album titled A Lesson in Suffocation. Playing with Knives is an Orlando, Florida-based throwback metalcore revival core band, or as they call themselves, knife mosh metalcore. And their music is filled to the brim with this super dark and dour and kind of chaotic energy, very live journal coded. Everything about this band absolutely nails what they set out to do. Not only is their band name so perfectly 2000s, they also have all of the panic chords, the rough around the edges recording quality, the clean choruses that are a little bit raspy and imperfect, and most importantly, they have those super long, ridiculous song titles that were such a staple of the scene. I really enjoyed this one, especially for such a young band. It's not exactly perfect. I feel like I would have loved the album to end with the same kind of energy that it started with. Instead, the album ends with these 2 back-to-back, more lighter, softer songs, which are solid, but I still wanted one more gut punch at the end. But again, for a debut release, this is insane. I'm definitely stoked to hear what comes next. Craving more chaos in your beatdown hardcore? The throwback metalcore meets chaotic hardcore band Surface have just put out their latest EP titled Where Angels Fear to Tread. Their music is so aggressive and constantly pummels you over the head with these metallic hardcore riffs that you just can't help but bang your head to. I love how gritty and fuzzy these guitars sound. There's this consistent barrage of low-tuned breakdowns, but then they hit all these high-pitched panic chords and this absolute banshee screech from the vocalist, both of which cut right through the mix. If you love metallic hardcore and early 2000s metalcore, I can't recommend this one enough. Can you resist the call of Charon? The German death metal band Call of Charon has just put out this brand new album titled Tales of Tragedy. If you love hard-hitting, brutal death metal and deathcore, but also a ton of melodic and technical riffs and solos, you're gonna love this. I also really feel a lot of that Black Dahlia influence. Just kind of the way that they like to highlight all of their instrumentalists, some of the tremolo picking, and especially this drummer that just does not stop shredding. This band has been putting out music for like a decade now, and they're still way too underrated. Definitely check this one out if you love the more melodic side of brutal death metal and deathcore. Do you love horror movies and deathcore?
What's that noise?
The chaotic deathcore and slam band Bassault US, Bassault us? Stop, don't bassault us, has just put out this disgustingly heavy new EP titled the Goretrack Sessions. This is a fun and silly side project from members of Misery's End, Deadlocked, and I Am Mook, and I'm just gonna read this verbatim. If you like horror movies, bass drops, dumb heavy breakdowns, and incoherent vocals, then this is the place for you. Man, I should have started the video that way. I had a great time with this one, but I'm not going to say too much more about it because this whole EP is only 5 minutes long, so just go listen to it for yourself. Who doesn't love a good old school split? This is a three-way globe-spanning split EP with the band's Statement of Pride, Destiny, and Envision. And each one of these bands gets 2 songs on this EP titled It Comes From Within. First up is Statement of Pride. They're a sick straight-edge band from Pensacola, Florida, and they get this EP started with just riff after riff of relentless aggression. The second band is Destiny, which is sort of the surprise addition to this group. This is a Singaporean band that kind of sits on the more chill side of hardcore. They kind of remind me a little bit of old school Turnstile. They don't scream necessarily, but they still have a lot of breakdowns and riffs. And then finally, we've got the incredible Philly straight-edge hardcore band Envision. And what a way to end this EP. Envision has such incredible guitar work, the bass player is ripping, and the drums and vocals tear right through the mix. I love this band, and they definitely made their mark on this one. Okay, and here is the full list of all of the new albums that came out this week. First off, I want to mention that Distant did a remaster / re-recording of their early album Tyrannotopia, and it's awesome. I already love the original, and this one just has better recording quality. Not that the original was that bad, but this is definitely cleaner and beefier, so it's a nice way to revisit that album. Clock Out is an up-and-coming hardcore band that deserves way more attention. I really wanted to dive into them, but again, I just did not have the time in today's episode, but I really like this one. Great hardcore band, check them out for yourself. And speaking of, the band Jailbird is in a very similar position. Another great hardcore band, another great new release. Forked Tongue and Heavyweight also did a split. It's 2 solid splits this week. That was really fun. Definitely check that one out. King Yosef is a really good industrial meets new metal and metalcore band. I actually really love their sound. I thought this album was great, so definitely check them out as well. And let me know if there's anything I missed this week or bands that I should have covered, or if there's any bands that you want me to check out. Maybe it's your band. Feel free to shout it out in the comments below. And I'll catch you next week for more metal and hardcore album reviews.